Hello and welcome. In the past 10 days or so, my very first casual review video of the oversized Bumblebee received about 1,800 views. For me, it's a little bit overwhelming with all the likes and shares and comments and feedbacks. It's super encouraging and also surprising. It really gives me the drive to create more videos like those. So thank you. Now, in today's video, we're taking a look at Tanaka's MPF-12 Lambor, their take on of the Masterpiece 12 Sideswipe. This oversized figure isn't as special as Bumblebee, but I think it is in a lot of ways a milestone for my collection and probably also for all collectors. So let's take a look at this figure and see how much that you can get out from this figure. This is your cup of tea. From the box, we can see that they're trying to recreate this Masterpiece box look. If you take a closer look, they kind of retake the photo with the official figures and created this image. Probably they cannot scan it and do all that tricks, because if you look close enough, you can see the lighting and the shading of these two photos, the cars and robot, are rather different. But we're not playing detectives. That's the front of the box. The back of the box, they changed some of the images to match what they actually offered in the box, especially the accessory part, and they're forecasting that probably they would do more of different mode. This is definitely an official ripoff. They just removed the logo because this is not the scale with any of the Optimus Prime figures. So let's get the box open to see what's inside of it. When I play back my Bumblebee review, sorry about the noise. When I play back my Bumblebee review, I find out that I actually said this figure is really heavy a lot of times. And I guess I can say a fewer times for this figure because this one is only heavier. Taking it out of the box, this is an amazing car. I'm not a car person. I don't own any car toys, ironically. But this one is really breathtaking. If you take a closer look at this car, and this doesn't really have this metal, plastic, different color symptom as the oversized Bumblebee figure has. The red is all painted and very consistent across the body. In terms of a die cast, this is die cast. This whole chunk is die cast, which is being expected, which is the amazing bit. If we take a closer look, it's not as smooth, as you can see. But it's okay. And another die-cast part would be the spoilers. And those are the only die-cast part. But since this car is so big, it's heavy. And if we take a closer look at some of the details, we can see how this manufacturer, this knockoff vendor, is creating this figure with love. Starting from this windshield wiper. They're creating a more detailed version of the windshield wiper. I looked it up on Google Image, and this is very authentic to the genuine car, to the real deal. And this official one is actually a super simplified version. And it's molded in with this. With this windshield. But this one, even though it doesn't really swipe, but it's a softer material, as you can see. It's softer, just so that you don't break it, accidentally break it. So this is really earning my respect to the KO company. They're not just a traditional KOs. They created this figure with love. In terms of the changes, there's another one. This light, it's painted and square, and you can barely make it out if you don't pay attention to it. Now became this translucent round plastic, which is also a nice touch. They changed the text, the label, because it's not anymore, let's compare to the original one. It's not anymore Lamborghini Countach. It's Lambor Countach, however that is. But yeah, we all understand why. So overall, the car in itself is already perfect, and they just made it better with their build. The gaps for the transformation and everything, they're slightly, they seems to be smaller. They're still the same gap. Like say for example, they're 0.5 millimeter wide, but when the car is bigger, the gap seems to be smaller. I guess that's one other benefit. So this car looks more detailed. One other part will definitely go with the rubber tire. They created the texture for the rubber tires. It's just not as flat as the original. So that's also a nice touch. And get to another gimmick. There's a little switch here. And this switch is for the light. Isn't that amazing? I mean, this is a crazy little thing. Of course, it doesn't really have the flip headlight. I believe it's just way too much trouble. Besides, this is die-cast. It will be harder to make that. But this crazy little thing that it created really makes this figure alive. It's amazing. Oh, you can see it through from the gap. This is a little bit wobbly. See? It's wobbly, but it doesn't matter. So this switch lighted up. Now this switch will, these lights are even better when it's in robot mode. And we're going to see that in the later part of the video. So that's also a very nice touch. So that's so much about the car mode. We can just take a closer look at the paint. It's fully painted across the body. Very nice, very smooth and shiny. Now, this is my kitchen table, so it's not a perfect surface for rolling cars, but as you can see, because of the heft of the car, with a slight push, it runs. So I think that's about it. That's about the car mode. Once again, I think it really worth the money. Oh, talking about the price, I believe this figure really appeared way earlier than I purchased. I purchased this in early this year only, probably in January. But the price, I'm in Beijing right now. The price went from 270 RMB to 210. So for some reason, they dropped 60 RMB off of it, which is roughly $10. So now it's about 30 US dollars, including shipping, of course, domestically in China. So it's good price. And it's just one astonishing car. So let's transform this figure up and see the robot mode comparison. I'll skip the transformation as usual because we've been seeing that for so many times. Now we're transformed up into robot mode, and we have the Sideswipe family all in here except for the 14C Plus, which is the cartoon accurate paint. I think I just really had enough of this mold. Now let's get to the changes that they made to this figure. First off, they changed 2 joints. One is the shoulder, crisp, heavy joint, and this leg joint. Excuse me. So those are very good changes, so they can hold the heft of the figure. Now, another major change or important change is the hand. Nice mold, as we can see. They have proper joints, the knuckles. 1, 2, 3, base knuckle and every single knuckle. So these 4 fingers are of the same length. Not particularly how I like it, but it's good enough. The problem was with the thumb. The thumb is okay from this way, but it doesn't really swivel that outside, which makes it rather difficult to hold his rifle. His rifle still has these 2 pegs, but the palm doesn't really have the groove for the pegs to go in. So he can still hold his rifle, but rather awkward. So it's very tight grip, by the way. The finger is very tight joints, so he holds securely, but it's just a little bit finicky to get it in. And another gimmick that they created for this figure is the head swap. That you can change the head by turning and plug. And this is where a lot of people complained about they get the wrong head, because this is literally red alert and this is Sideswipe. The difference is mainly the ears, if that's their ears. So I'm not a big fan of this color scheme, red head with red body. But I'll say this, if they created, sorry about the gun and the noise, if they create a black version of this car, I'll definitely go for that, because this is even better. So those are the changes that they made. They're all rather nice changes to the figure, and I don't really mind so much about the ear, so it's all good. Last time in the Bumblebee video, I talked a lot about the scaling. I think more specifically, I was talking about the scale for the robot, not necessarily the scale for cars, because like I said, we probably don't display these figures in car mode that often. Let me get these figures out the picture and invite some other guys for comparison. If you ask me, who is the Sideswipe counterparts or Carbots counterparts, I will say these guys. So this Starscream actually shares almost of the same scale. They scale way better than the official line. If we compare them side by side, we can see that Starscream is like a hair taller than Sideswipe. So I would say this is a fair fight. At least they're fighting. Or let's say Starscream is picking a fight with somebody of his own size. Not like in the official line where Starscream is way bigger than a lot of the Carbots. So I would say they scale probably better as robot scales. And for that figure, probably I can do a separate review, because in the later video, we're going to see Starscream in the Lightroom library as well. So very quickly onto some other accessories. The shoulder cannon, white, unpainted, with this light gimmick as well, little switch. Rifle, same switch, same mechanism, lights up like a pointy laser. They came with a battery pre-installed, so that's a good thing. One pair of this, perfect chrome, flawless, seriously. I hope every single chrome part is like this, not like the Masterpiece Ironhide or all the issues that the official line is encountering. One pair of this pile driver, I guess. This one little scene in this one episode that they kind of used this. So nice to have. I will never bother mounting these things onto Sideswipe. And of course, for the scale, this is a must-have. Scale comparison. So is the previous little dude. So for me, that's a perfect picture. Still, scale-wise in the robot mode. Okay, welcome everyone to my private Lightroom library. First time ever that I've shown this photo to anyone. I didn't even post these photos in any of the social media networks because this is kind of a very personal moment. But since I'm doing the video, probably the main purpose to show these photos, to share this masterpiece moments. Now this particular photo really defines Sideswipe in my heart. I think the review probably goes a little bit sentimental or emotional there, but why people care about die-cast metal or rubber tires or the size of the robot, I think this photo says it all. For me, light doesn't shine through metal parts, it shines through plastic parts, so this figure looks more solid. And rubber tires, these tires really brings that much detail to the figure. And these lights seems to be so silly because only kids' toy with remote controls with all the plastic parts have like, you know, lights up lights. But this is something that really brings this character to life. This is a masterpiece moment for me. This is when this supercar, this Countach, was first introduced, and then it appears in a super simplified cartoon character as Sideswipe. And we're trying to think of a robot that has so many details, but also has so many car parts as his parts as the key features. Like this chest piece, we imagine, wow, this is what this Countach car part turned into. This is the wheels revealed. Not necessarily to hide those wheels, just to show the organic part of the robots are also parts from the cars. I think those imagination probably gone through days when we were kids, because we see the cars. In magazines, we have high definition photos, posters of these cars, but we have only those super simplified cartoon images in our heads. And this moment, when this Tanaka is kind enough to bring all those elements, lighting, die-cast, rubber tires, articulated fingers, fully articulated fingers, back to the figure. It's probably not the perfect size, but all these elements add together into this perfect masterpiece moment. For me, remembering Sideswipe. Another is the car mode photo. Well, this is a sloppy work because a lot of dust and everything. I didn't collect just a lot of those. Just don't mind those. Exaggerations on the lights, and also shine a few other light sources onto this chest piece of a Sideswipe really gives myself, my personal feeling, a striking, like, you see, that robot really turns into a supercar. And this is breathtaking for me. And also some product shots that I created for myself, like, yeah, look, it's a car. I took these photos in January, as you can see here. And I bought these two together, Starscream and Sideswipe. Before that, I never really paid much attention to these figures. And since we're into this library, let's take a brief look at Starscream as well. This is my Starscream masterpiece moment. F-15 was like a legendary jet back in the 80s. And when we see F-15 turns into different colors, first off, Thundercracker and Skywarp, but military paint, with all the panel lines and details, those panel lines are real, but these details of robots are imaginative. When they combine these together and add these features, parts from the jet, and turn that into a robot, this is like, oh my god. This is the figure waiting in the back of my mind, thinking what that jet would actually look like when it turned into a robot. And this is what it looks like. So, wow. Masterpiece moment for me, for Starscream. So basically, that's what I wanted to share. It's not truly a review of the toy, because the lighting, you can only play that many tricks with videos, but with cameras and speedlight, you can probably play more tricks. Even take this photo as a jet mode. This is no question a jet, and with a larger scale, you can easily take a photo like this, emphasizing on the cockpit and the details of the jet, and you can make out the whole outlook of this jet. And this is a masterpiece moment, both in robot mode and in the jet mode, that really brings that wow factor from these oversized toys. Of course, all the credit goes back to Takara Tomy. Thank Takara Tomy for creating these figures. But those knockoff companies, they just remastered these figures into a different level. These product shots really also super fantastic, as you can see all the realistic details, and you can still imagine that as a kid every day, imagining how this machine transforms into another live machine as a robot. So I think essentially that's my masterpiece moment. What does it mean by masterpiece moment? It's not the product line's name. It's more of a name of a true masterpiece, how I see it. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.